This is a banded mongoose pup. For some reason the term is pup and not mongosling. Banded mongooses live in extended family groups of about 20 to 30 adults, and they forage together hunting for fruit and insects. This pup has their whole life ahead of them, which is usually 3 or 4 years, but can be up to 12 years. This is the story of the banded mongoose, and it's full of incest, violence, and cannibalism. Inbred offspring are generally less healthy, often weaker and more sickly, just generally less likely to survive. This is because of the genes they inherit from their related parents. Mongooses, and you for that matter, have 2 copies of each gene, one from each parent. This is great because if one is faulty, you've got a backup, a spare. However, because relatives have a lot of the same genes, if they breed, the offspring are likely to inherit the same faulty copy from both parents, and then that is a problem. Individually, it's only a small problem, but with inbreeding this happens at lots of different genes, and it adds up to a big cost. In the banded mongoose, we see quite a lot of inbreeding, with quite a lot of parents being brother and sister, or father and daughter. Why does the banded mongoose inbreed so much? Maybe it's because they don't suffer inbreeding depression, which would be potentially really useful, because if we could figure out why, maybe we could use that to try and protect other endangered species that are suffering from inbreeding depression. So, is inbreeding bad for the banded mongoose? Yes. It's really bad for them. They are smaller, less likely to survive, have fewer children, have more parasites. It's just not good for them. But they're doing it anyway. They live in family groups, so mating is usually with family. The alternative choice is to find a mate from a different group, which sounds easy, but rival groups are very aggressive to each other. Adults are always on guard for attacks by rival groups. The whole pack lines up to fight for their territory. But the real danger of these fights is to the pups, which are too small to fight back and are easily killed off if not defended. So they face a choice. Is it better to stay at home and risk inbreeding, or find a mate in a different group but risk being killed? They actually make that choice based on the risk of inbreeding. If the group is closely related and the risk of inbreeding is high, they are willing to fight a rival group to have a healthy pup. So the banded mongoose is trying to avoid inbreeding, but because the alternative is so dangerous, they will tolerate more inbreeding than most species. The risk of inbreeding changes over time, because in a new group, males and females are not related at all, because they come from different families. But in the next generation, males and females are both from that same family group, so the risk of inbreeding goes up with each new generation. Until some young adults make the dangerous journey to leave and start a new group. They make a new group by finding unrelated mongooses of the opposite sex, which is why new groups are not at risk of inbreeding. They're just in danger of being attacked by older and larger groups. One of the cool things about studying wild animals is that although you might know what they generally do, they might just do something different. So there was one group of females who decided they didn't need any males, so they just started an all-female group. And they would breed with males in neighbouring groups, but they were never allowed to join their new pack. Unfortunately, in the banded mongoose, most of the offspring care is done by males, so it didn't go very well for the pups. Banded mongooses live in social packs, but unlike most social mammals, where there's only a single pair of breeders, lots of the adults will breed, which means lots of baby mongooses, or mongoslings. Luckily, the whole pack will pitch in to help raise them. Once pups are old enough to come foraging, they still need help digging up insects and learning how to eat a scorpion. Each pup will have one particular adult who looks after them, who will share food with them, groom them, and generally protect them. It's called an escort. What makes this behaviour unique is that it's just some random other member of the group who looks after the pup. It's not their parent or a particular close relative. So why do they look after a pup that's not their own? I mean, partly, they're all family, so it's still helping family. But a big part of it seems to be because they don't know whose pup is whose. And that's because the females all give birth on the same night in the same den, to deliberately hide which pup is theirs. And this isn't just because they get pregnant at the same time. Females will speed up or slow down their pregnancy, so they all synchronize in order to give birth on the same night. Okay, but why do they do that? Why do they all give birth on the same night? When they're born, all the pups are competing with each other for food and for the best care. In this competition, the oldest pups will have an advantage because they're bigger. So you don't want to give birth later than everybody else, or your pup will be the smallest. So why not just give birth earlier? Well, the other mums don't want older, bigger pups out competing their own pup, so if there are pups around before she gives birth, she'll just kill them and eat it. So everyone gives birth on the same night, so nobody knows whose pup is whose, and nobody gets eaten. Thanks for watching. If you've got any cool animal facts, put them in the comments below.